Welcome to this revision video on The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Now, The Charge of the Light Brigade is a poem that looks at the conflict of war. From the very beginning of the poem, the reader is thrown into the action. The 600 cavalry are ordered to charge for the guns by the unnamed he. The identity of whoever gave the mistaken order for the charge was never proven. The common soldiers know that they're being asked to sacrifice themselves by charging into blazing gunfire, but they follow rules without question because of a sense of loyalty and duty. They ride well, but their swords are useless against Russian gunfire from both sides of the valley and against rows of cannons facing them. Nevertheless, they charge through these before turning to ride back, still stormed at with shot and shell. The survivors return, sadly reduced in number, but the poem praises their bravery and commands that the Light Brigade be honoured. Now, the Crimean War was between 1854 and 1856, and it saw British and French troops take on the Russians. It began after the Turkish Empire collapsed and Russia wanted to extend power south. The Allies landed in the Crimea and took control of Sebastopol. The war took place in Crimea, which is an area in southern Russia, and the British cavalry, who were the men on horseback, were called the Light Brigade. Now, the British cavalry commander, who was in charge of them, mistook an order to retake some guns held by the Russians. Instead, he told his men to charge the main Russian position, which was at the head of a valley bristling with artillery. The 600 horsemen obeyed, but 2/3 were killed or wounded. The charge is the best known example of heroism and stupidity of war, because the soldiers followed their orders even though they knew it was going to lead to the death of many of them. If we look at the opening of the poem, half a league, half a league, half a league onward, the rhythm sounds like a galloping horse's hoof. It gives the impression that the horses are unstoppable. Straight away in line 3 we get the first introduction of something sinister, with the idea of the personification of the word death. The reader is warned right from the start that something bad is going to happen. The final line of stanza 1, Rode the 600, present these soldiers together as one group, and emphasise how they stuck together and just followed their orders blindly with no one questioning. Some soldiers realised that the order was a mistake, as we see in stanza 2, but they do what they're told because it's their duty to obey orders. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldiers knew someone had blundered. And the poet seems to want us to respect the soldiers for following their orders, even though they knew that potentially they were going to their death. The repetition of theirs not to reply, theirs not to reason why, theirs but to do and die, emphasises the soldiers' obedience and a sense of duty, even though they knew they would almost certainly be killed. There's a biblical reference in line 16 when it says the valley of death, and it refers to a line in Psalm 23, "Ye though I walk through the valley of the shadow of the death, I will fear no evil." And using this biblical reference make the poem seems quite solemn and add a sense of significance to the importance of it. At the start of stanza 3 there is repetition of cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon in front of them, and it reflects the way the soldiers are surrounded by the enemy gunfire. It also replicates the sound of this gunfire and shows the harsh conditions the soldiers were in. A bit later on we've got the phrase stormed at with shot and shell, and the sibilance here emphasises the idea of the ammunition flying towards the soldiers. The jaws of death and the mouth of hell, these images are personification and make them seem like monsters that the soldiers cannot escape from. And then again we have that repetition of the line, "Rode the 600. It adds to the sense of foreboding and reminds us of the number of soldiers who rode into the valley and how few rode out. Stanza 4 starts with this repetition of the image of flashed, and the rhyme creates a powerful image of the cavalry using their sword. The sabre in the gunners there, charging an army, reminds us that they only had swords to take on the Russian army which was attacking them with guns. Line 31, "All the world wonders," has a double meaning. It could mean that the people marvelled at the bravery of the soldiers, or they wondered why they had been sent on the charge. Now, this poem was written in 1854 in response to a newspaper article about the battle. Many newspapers at the time were critical of the Crimean War, but this poem chooses to focus on the bravery of the soldiers rather than questioning and criticising the mistakes of the military leaders. We have several lines beginning with verbs in stanza 4, charging, plunged, reeled, shattered, and that idea emphasises the action and increases the pace of the poem. The end of stanza 4 sees a change to the idea of "Rode the 600, where it says, "but not the 600. And that repetition of the word "not" emphasises the fact that some of the brigade have been killed. It creates a broken, stuttering effect making it sound as though the speaker of the poem is almost upset at what has happened. Stanza 5 opens with the repetition of the opening lines of stanza 3, cannon to the right of them, cannon to the left of them, cannon behind them. But this time the soldiers are retreating, they're moving back away from the attack. Volleyed and thundered are powerful onomatopoeic verbs that suggest the noises from the cannons. While horse and hero fell, that they had fought so well, shows the poet has a sense of admiration for the soldiers, but there's also a touch of sadness here as well, that so many have died in this battle. And the repetition again at the final two lines of the stanzas, all that was left of them, left of the 600. That repetition of the phrase left of reminds us how many soldiers have died and makes the poem have this sad, sombre tone. Stanza 6 begins with a rhetorical question that challenges the reader. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made. And that makes it sound quite dramatic and daring, this brave attack the soldiers have been on. We have the repetition of the word honour, which again is a command to us to go away and think about the bravery and the sacrifice these soldiers made, and we should honour them. The poet wants us very much to see this as a poem about the bravery of the soldier, and although he does want to question the people who sent them into battle, he wants first and foremost their sacrifice to be remembered. Now, an extended writing task is here for you to work at. How does Tennyson convey ideas of conflict in the poem? You've got some ideas down the right-hand side of ways that you can develop and expand your paragraphs, thinking about different techniques you can use to add in the extra information. Try to use your topic sentences to set up an argument in each paragraph, and use these ideas opposite to help you develop your analysis.